fancy overlays and transitions.
Mm.
We in the we top tier. We top tier.
Yes, sir.
Montel Allen, what's up with you, man?
Man, blessed as always, man. Ready to have a good Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Talk about what's going on in the world, as far as short sports and social media
Yeah.
and how it's impacting our environment with these youth and these adults and how we can make a social change, brother, man. So I'm all in.
I love it. I love it. I know you were just getting done with that Southern California traffic. Gonna
Yeah,
let you
yeah.
breathe a little bit. Gonna let you catch your breath because we got some folks coming in. Oh, now the show can officially start. We got. Oh my gosh, let me get these comments right here. We got
Yes,
Senior
the
in the building.
OG.
Appreciate you for being here, sir. Listen, man. Let me go ahead and get focused right quick. I got somebody behind the scenes who family goes back a long time, way before the gray hair, way before all the hair fell out. Man who knows something about sports. Man who knows about protecting the principle, protecting individuals at particular events, sporting events, entertainment events, things of that nature. So I'm not even going to mess around anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring him in right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Little is here. God, so look, what's up with you now?
What's up with you?
Oh my goodness, look at you, man.
It's been too long.
It's been too long. It's too. I was looking and reminiscing through some photos. I may pull up some photos of me in your stadium as we have these conversations, but it's good to have you here, man. This is going to be a good show. We got some good topics as always, but some timely conversation about some things that you have intimate knowledge about. So we're going to have that conversation. But before we get going, let me have you tell kind of a little bit of your origin story, who it is that Ron Little is, what it is that you do. Don't give anything NDA away, though. Don't say anything that you can't say. But tell us a little bit of something about what you do on a day-to-day basis, if you don't mind.
No, I mean, what I do now is I oversee security for Lumen Field, which is home of the Seattle Seahawks, and the WAMU Event Center, which we do about 55 concerts a year in the theater, and then we do another 3 to 4 in the stadium itself. Not only are we home to the Seattle Seahawks, but we also have the Seattle Sounders, which just won the CONCACAF Championship, first MLS team ever to do that. We had 68,000 fans in the stadium for that match, and then also the OL Reign now makes Lumen Field their home. So we've got a lot of sports and a lot of entertainment happening.
I love it. I love it. So
I mean, that's what I do.
That's what you do on paper, but we know there's a lot more going on behind the
I
scenes,
oversee
right?
from top to bottom. So it's and I also I'm in charge of the first responders. I'm in charge of our traffic plan. I mean, of course, I've got a great team working with me to make this stuff happen.
Yeah.
I oversee parking, traffic, and then just our presence, our security presence at each of these events, and ensuring, we've got a public road running right beside us, and ensuring that we have a secured facility and a secured perimeter is extremely important.
I remember when I was there in Seattle and you gave me the tour of the stadium. You gave me a tour kind of the behind the scenes of what goes on. It was right around a lot of the Homeland Security planning for, again, large events and things of that nature that came out of 9/11. Very, very impressive of what you have going there. And I'm sure, and I think you were also saying you are kind of a model across the nation, right, for sports, not just NFL, but just in terms of how you secure the event, because you know more than just sports, right? You come from the entertainment world. You've secured everybody from the Rolling Stones to look. That's the first show that you have me at, Rolling Stones, watching out for Mick Jagger, but those kinds of things, right? So high profile individuals and events, how to secure those particular locations, right?
Yeah. I've been fortunate to work with a lot of rising stars and stars of old, and not only in the rock and roll world and the entertainment world, but sports and entertainment completely. I've got to work with presidents, past presidents, I've been fortunate, and doing some high profile events from NCAA Final Fours to Super Bowls to the MLS Cups and things like that. So yeah, it's been great. But my facility, we are DHS certified and designated.
Hold on. Keep talking. While you talk about that, you talk about the Super Bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and put this up here. So Montel, check it out. There you look at him right there. You see him?
Who's that guy?
Ron was about to put them hands on Cooper Cup's wife and kids, right, for running on the stage. He's looking for credentials. I know you're not going to just roll up on the stage.
That night, I grabbed about 4 individuals that didn't belong on that field. So I had a good
look
night.
at it. I saw you getting in your lane, getting ready to put them hands on her just to make sure that she was supposed to be there. Okay, man, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Quick eyeball to make sure she was legit.
Yeah, I saw.
It was just a quick eye, make sure she was legit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's our facility, DHS certified and designated. We're one of 5 stadiums to get both. We're the oldest stadium to get both, to get certified. Certified is a very difficult thing, but we've won the NCAA or NCS4 Security Team of the Year before COVID hit, and we're MLS Security Team of the Year. So we've got a lot of accolades, and I'm very proud of the team that I have. And the speech I gave before the CONCACAF Championship, 68,000 fans, everybody's going crazy. MLS has never had a team in the final, being ready to win it all. Knowing full well, I said, look, everybody's expecting us to fail. Everybody's expecting the field to get overrun if something happens. But if we follow our policies, our procedures as written, as we do every event, we'll be fine. We're going to make it out of this. And not one person made it onto the field. That's one cool. Media person made it onto the field because of the security presence that we had. It was amazing. It was just great to be down there and in the middle of all that.
That's cool, man. And that's a true testament to who you are and what you do and what you've done with the other history that you have, right? Bill Graham presents, Clear Channel Entertainment, all that. But that leads kind of into where Montel and I kind of want to start this conversation and think back to Mother's Day, think back to the NBA playoffs, think about CP3, right? Well, Dallas and Phoenix were playing. You had something you wanted to say?
No. I'd rather just the elephant in the room before we go to that. Go there. Let's talk about the Oscars, right? In that situation.
Okay, you want? I was trying to bring a sports one in first, but see,
right I want to bring that because everybody talks about that.
We were talking about the slap ahead of time. Go ahead.
Everybody knows about that situation. Ron, obviously a professional, you kind of know what's going on, and that's a little bit different because it was a star in a star area that kind of walked up there and made the assault on Chris Rock. But I mean, in that kind of situation, we have that, and then we have the Dave Chappelle situation. I just want to get the entertainment out first before we go to the sports.
Look at you, but see, you just like put the dog before the tail, or is that what it is? Is that what they say? We were going to get into that, but go ahead, it's all right, brother.
So with those situations like that,
yeah,
because we're everyday folks. Everybody don't like sports, but everybody likes some form of entertainment. In situations like that, I mean, first I said, what's your role and responsibility in that, and then what's your action when you see that starting to happen? What is your protocol action to kind of diffuse that situation or alleviate it? Because both of those are real unique and different, but attacking high profile, entertainers. So I want you to take on the Grammys one first, and then the Dave Chappelle.
Look at him, go right ahead on y'all.
And honestly, those are two separate reactions to both of those. I mean, they're just completely separate reactions because, like you said, with the Will Smith thing, those are artists, and you don't know what part of that is staged and what part of that is real. So you actually have to let that play out. But once it plays out, then you're reacting to the production people that you're working with. You're understanding that wasn't part of the script. That is absolutely real. And at that point, you've got to address it, star or not. You got to go address it.
Mhm.
I personally think he should have been walked out at that point just to
Mhm.
defeat the rest of the night. I mean, Chris Rock was the presenter. He was there all night. He was the MC. He's the
Yeah.
guy that's supposed to be there for the rest of the night. You got to make sure he's protected the rest of the night. Uh, there's a lot of things that could have happened that could have continued to escalate. Luckily, there was some very smart individuals that pulled Will Smith aside and explained to him the error of his ways,
Mhm.
and he was able to apologize. But frankly, he shouldn't have been there for his award.
Yeah.
Is the way I
Okay.
look at it.
With that, what you just said, I think you're absolutely 100% right.
Shouldn't have still been in
But
there.
but
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick you with another one real quick. So we know we just had those situations. I believe I don't know if it was Coachella or down in L.A. where one of the rappers got stabbed, right, by a fellow rapper in the
Yeah.
back in the behind stage or something like that. I forgot the young man's name, but he ended up getting killed or something like that. That's similar like that. Like you said, those are stars all in there mingling, doing their thing. Now, obviously, that was a slap on the TV. This is something that happens on backstage that you got. So, what's that? And I'm saying that because we have people that of all walks of life to kind of watch this. So, I want your take on that one as well. What's that? How's that go?
I think that one you have to put a little bit of blame on the programmers.
Mm.
Meaning you got to understand history behind the artist and to understand that there's a beef between those two artists, and you don't put them in the backstage area. You don't put them where they're performing in the same area or same stage area, and then you make sure that they stay separated. I mean, I had a similar situation many years ago, many years ago. No video phones or anything, but I had a similar situation where two artists who were touring together got into a beef. Their posses got into a beef, and at a show that I was at, one posse took off after another posse in the middle of a meet and greet. And so much so that I've got my security team to stand in between them, back them off, and then I put a member of the police department between the two dressing rooms, and I kept him in place the rest of the night because of that beef. But that's a programming issue. I mean, you got to understand the history. You got to understand if there's two artists with a beef and make sure that they're not in the same vicinity.
Got it.
Was I working that show? Was I there?
I don't think you were.
No, see, because check it. Ron was the one who got me into doing event security. I bring it up. My very first show that he got me to was doing the Rolling Stones, and for 10 years I was hooked. I was deep into it for a while. So
yes, he was. Oh,
yeah.
There's stories there too, but I don't think we
don't have time, and we don't want to listen. You got me stumbling over here, right?
But when you go to the incident that happened at the comedy club, that should have never happened. Security should have been right on that. If I was Chappelle's security, I would have been standing side stage. And as soon as you see movement like that, you've got to jump on it, and your job is to get to them before they get to your man. And that's the bottom line. And I don't know if Chappelle had a personal with him. I assume that he traveled with somebody, but maybe if he doesn't, he does now.
Absolutely.
Got some people. We talk about that a lot here, right? Making sure you have the right people around you. And again, now we're talking about bodily harm and bodily issues. Actually, thanks, Montel, for bringing that up. That perspective, the entertainment perspective, but that feeds into the whole sports piece as well, right? So again, you've got this young heckler, young kids, apparently drunk, maybe drunk, I don't know, or just in the midst and excitement of the game, putting his hands allegedly on CP3's wife and mother. Talk about that. The question of should those people, those VIPs, even be in with the common fans, right? Should they be in the stands together? Should they be separated? Should they have some folks around them? What's your thought on the venue itself? Because again, look, you've managed a lot of venues here in Northern California as well. So you've been to Warriors, you've been to Raiders, you've been all of that. So you know how that part is as well. Your thoughts on just that whole piece as well, and then we can talk about next steps. So what's the learning, what's the teachable moment out of this?
So the big thing is, and I see it even with our organization, is for home teams, you typically have a seating area that's reserved strictly for family. And some of the higher profile, they're not in the seats, they're up in the suites or and things like that. But visiting teams, they don't get that same luxury. It's really depends on
Mhm.
the home team and the seating that they want to allow them to have.
Mm.
And so I'm not sure why they were sitting where they were. They were right behind the bench, so they probably felt that they were pretty comfortable and pretty safe being that close to the bench. But again, you're surrounded by angry fans and fans that I agree with you. I think they should be put in a separate spot just for here's the visiting team tickets and put them in a special spot and family more so than others. And I mean, CP, his family should have been in a suite. I mean, they don't need to be down there with him. He don't need that close interaction with his family, unless he wanted to keep his eyes on him. I mean, frankly, it looks like that's what happened. Is that he wanted to keep his eyes on him because he was able to interject himself pretty fast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, Montel,
security
I mean,
should
I
be-
know you probably got some concerns or some thoughts about this as well, but I just, again, I think certain folks should probably just be away. So one, they're not a distraction to whoever's playing, right? So the
I
athlete
agree.
doesn't have to worry about their family.
Yep, I agree.
There's got to be some other consequence that comes out of just the way that venue is set up to manage and take care of fan security as well, and performer security as well, right? Because
Yeah.
people jumping on stage, people coming on the court, people coming on the playing field, all of that, it's happened so many times in the past that we've seen it. Yeah, even at like college games, you almost expect students to
Yeah.
rush the field after a Michigan game and try to pull down the goalpost. You're not going to stop that. But they're just okay. Well, let's talk to you, the subject matter expert. But there's got to be some better processes and things in place to protect everyone that's involved while still allowing the fun to happen. I guess I don't know.
No, I
Maybe talking
agree.
out the side of my neck. I don't know.
No, I think at that level, we're talking playoffs here. Number one, we're talking a very pivotal game. I think they should have identified where the visiting team's family was sitting and put additional security around it and kept people away from it. The problem is coming out of COVID, it's probably worse than ever. Is financially, arenas and venues don't want to spend that extra money, and unless the visiting team is willing to fork over that money themselves for the additional security, it's just not going to happen. We're seeing that more and more. Is everybody is super budget conscious right now because they're trying to
wow.
recoup money from 2020.
Yeah, I'm gonna comment on that. That right there to me seems like a really poor and sad investment on ownership.
No,
Because,
so
but let
they've
me,
done.
let me
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, but because obviously I'm protecting my commodity, right? I'm protecting my commodity, the guys that are on the field and the guys that are playing, and what comes with that are their families. So with that being said, I'm sorry, you can't tell me that the billionaires can't figure out to say, hey, we need to make sure we protect either ours and theirs because we're protecting the commodity of ours and their family. Now, budget cuts and they want to sell those seats out. I get all that. But at the end of the day, me and you both know it's all profit sharing across the board. Everybody's getting the paycheck that's the ownership because it cuts on the board. So at that point, you're penny pinching staff. That's what you're doing. You're penny pinching staff,
Well,
not to have
there's
extra security or be smart or be strategic about it, right? Like you would say, move in one area, place them strategically where you can protect them with what you have. That's
right.
being lazy.
So,
That's just being lazy on their part.
and there's two issues, honestly. There's the one issue is they are covering what they normally cover. So what we're
Mhm.
talking about is additional staff for the
Yep.
family. So
Yeah.
they don't want to put up for that.
Yeah.
But they are covering what they normally cover with the staffing that they have. The problem is now, since COVID, staffing is such an issue. We're struggling. The companies are struggling to get enough staff to do what we used to do in 2019. We can't.
Mhm.
I mean, I was going into game 30-40% short, but managing it, of course, but coming in
Mhm.
30% short and just trying to make it work because we couldn't get enough staff. We begged, borrowed, we whatever we could to get staff in there. sanitized. We did everything, and people at the time didn't want to go to work. We're starting to see that change right now,
Yeah.
and I hope it continues because we really need that support. We need that help in all these games. So I really hope that changes moving forward.
But Ron, I got a question on that one though. So like you said, difficult times, different ways of managing it with your staff, right? Obviously, it's got to be different because you don't have as much staff. Your budget is probably either a lot less or exactly the same it was in 2019. So you got to figure a way out. My thing would be like, wouldn't it be working smarter at this point? So, for instance, for the NBA, if I got players that are sitting there, I put a plexiglass behind them so you can't interact with them if there's something that's there. Oh, like I said, fans of their family. Strategically move them somewhere where we know with the staff we have, we can keep a watchful eye on them, and it doesn't have to be that way. I don't even necessarily know if you need more money, but I do believe it needs to be planned out a little bit smarter in situations like with Chris Paul, because, like you said, it's his mother and his wife. Now, I don't care where they want to sit. They can go sit next to the coach, or they can go sit their ass anywhere they want to in the thing. The arena security and the arena owner, which is Mark Cuban and his staff, should be aware of any of those situations where they are, instead of saying, let's move you over here. Let's move you to a different designated area where it's at, and not about 2 damn tickets. $500 tickets ain't gonna break nobody's pocket in that realm where they're in. So I'm more disappointed in that part of it, and them not advocating something like that and protecting their commodity, because right now what we're dealing with, and we're gonna go to a segment, I'm pretty sure, how they're running out on the court, how they're doing these things. I hate to say it, but basketball is gonna start to become like hockey in a minute if they don't watch themselves. You're gonna be watching that behind a plexiglass while they play, and everybody's going to have to watch too, because if the first time somebody gets hurt or an incident that happens like in Indiana, where somebody can potentially
was the malice in the palace kind of the precipice to what's coming?
We had something very similar like that happen in Oakland when I was in Oakland. With Rasheed Wallace and oh man, he went up into the stands, and I grabbed him and pulled him back down, and he spun on me, and I was just smiled at him. But
I wish you would.
But it was very similar. But you know what? You think about having this conversation about CP's family and all that is you talk about protecting their family, but then you got to think of the reverse too. I mean, look at Mahomes and his brother, and the way his brother acts when he goes out to Mahomes. When Mahomes is playing,
that's true.
He's throwing ice on other individuals. He's up in a suite. He's protected, and he's throwing ice out of the suite at people, dumping drinks on people, and it's just I agree. I think we should protect the families. I think, especially with the high-profile players, put them in a suite. Find a suite, put them in a suite, and protect them there. They don't need to be close to the team.
Yeah.
As far as the team itself goes, we got to make sure that we have enough security around the courts. Again, this CONCACAF thing, I'll point back to that. That was one that we should have lost the field. We should have. But I had the security completely around the field, eyes up, everybody watching. And we had some players that started to come over a wall to go that wanted to go enjoy with their team. They wanted to celebrate with the Sounders. They were sitting in the James, you remember the suites that we had on the field level. They were sitting in those suites, and they were about to go over the wall. And I walked around the field, and I stood in front of them. I said, "Look, you guys got the right credentials. Go out your back door, go around and enter the field the way you're supposed to. Because as soon as you come over the wall, you've now opened it up for everybody."
And so, I mean, that's crazy too, right? And I'm gonna pull up a picture of that venue of your venue. I almost wonder if those seats right there. I mean, because listen, those seats are 5 feet away, and you're in the end zone, right? You're too close to what's actually happening in the action. You start mixing alcohol with these fans, fanatics. Game starts going a bad way, and then you want to touch somebody. I almost wonder, again, just unfortunately seeing some of these situations, if that just changes even field design, if that changes seating design, if that changes just measures in terms of how you being in those situations manage those particular events. I mean, again, those seats are just, man. Again, Montel, I'm telling you,
Obviously,
you 5 feet
obviously,
away from the end zone, brother, and
yeah,
you can literally
obviously
go out
during
and
the
reach out and touch somebody.
obviously
I don't
during the
know.
design phase, they
Yeah.
don't consult a security expert.
It doesn't even sound right coming out your
So,
mouth. We
so,
laugh.
SoFi Stadium is even worse
Yep.
because they have a whole slew of suites all the way around the field on field level. So much so, it's like ours. At least you got to climb a wall to get over. At SoFi, they were stepping up and getting onto the field. Those are like the 4 people I kicked off the field. They came from those suites, and
Man,
they just stepped out because they thought they belonged. They belong down there. Why not? Yeah, no, I agree with you, James. And actually, put a glass wall up. Put
what's
it
up?
put it all
What's
the
up?
way. If you're gonna put suites on the field, then they can't. There's no way to get to the field.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I
Montel.
got,
See,
I got,
this
I
right. Oh
want, I
no,
want,
this isn't the sweet
oh,
love.
there
This is
you go.
us up there at the top.
That's,
Hold on. I'm just
that's my
gonna
office.
floss on this a little bit. We up there with
Yeah, that's
the
my office up
highfalutin people hang out right there.
there. Raising the flag.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
nice
Yeah,
picture right there, man.
the suites we're talking about are right behind us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's nice. That's nice.
it's just insane though. But man, I'm sorry. I had to interject, interlude, and do a
Well, you
little
know what,
floss on
James?
with these pictures right here. Go ahead, Montel.
They put field seats in too, so they drop field seats in on every corner of the end zones of the side seats and the
Mm-hmm.
whole end zone from where our red zone suites. They put a bunch of stuff like that. I mean, it's just they can sell them for high dollar. It's a way for them to make extra money, and us from security, we just got to think of how do you do that? How do you protect that? How do you protect the people on the field?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Love to hear.
I
I'm
got,
loving these comments too.
yeah,
Loving folks that are interjecting. Gabriel, good to see you, man. Yeah, we talked about that, putting glass or plexiglass out there like hockey, right? That we brought that up kind of jokingly about it. That's going to be how the next season of NBA games are going to look. You know, we hopefully
right.
that's not going to happen, man. Mr. McPhee, good to see you as well. Dr. Cox, always good to see you, brother. Yeah, I'm getting better, man. So I'm glad, Mom and Dad, I see you in the room too. Montel, I'm gonna let you close with another statement, then let's keep rolling, man, on some other topics.
Yeah. I mean, in those situations, obviously the events, but I want your perspective on not protecting the commodities versus the fans, but when is a situation when you got to protect the fans from the commodity? What comes to mind is like
Wow.
I forgot what incident was in the football. I forgot his name, but he was talking. He was getting ready to go to the stands to go fight one of the
Yeah,
fans and get in there. And I don't think people realize, especially with football, how big some of these men are. Like they don't,
yeah,
they don't get the perception from TV. They can't fathom a 6'5", 350-pound man getting ready to go up to the stands and get ready to go pound on somebody. I'm wondering from your perspective, how do you get that? Because I know it gets out of hand, especially when you're in the heat of the moment or you're losing bad and you got fans chirping on you real, real bad. And sometimes even fans throwing stuff at you. Where's you guys from an event security team, where does that part come into play?
I think we're fortunate that the players themselves have a really good team surrounding them that brings in that information and really works with them and helps them understand that they're going to get heckled. They're going to get people that cross the line. And our job is really to get to those individuals before the players can even think about getting into the stand. So uh, that's probably the biggest thing is
Yeah.
we got to intercept before the players can get up there. And as much as I can, I will get in between a player and the wall. But we have a team of security around the benches, both visitors and home benches. And same thing when I managed the basketball, when I managed the Warriors arena, same thing. We had security on at both ends of the players, as well as we had them in the center tunnels, and they were surrounded the court. So our job is to look for those kind of incidents, look for those people that are heckling, and get to them before the players start to react to them. Because frankly, it goes against the NFL best practices and the code of conduct that we put together. So if they're crossing that line, we need to address it. And frankly, if it gets to a player first, I think we failed in some way,
Mm.
and I hate to say that that's my people, but we failed in some way if we can't get to them before the player gets to them.
Yeah, I think the NBA is probably right now doing the best job of a player points out a heckler or someone that's really bothering, and they'll escort him out. I think obviously that's the best display I've seen of it. Doing a really good job of that.
We've seen
NFL
that
like
with LeBron. Yeah, we've seen that
yeah,
with
yeah,
LeBron and front row play.
yeah,
And those seats are expensive, but
yeah,
they
exactly,
don't care.
exactly.
They don't care.
And he's right. Marcus Peters is the one that did. He's the one that was going to go up to the stands. I remember that very, very vividly. But I know NFL doesn't have too much. I know because I've been to many games and see it. I know they get that, but I've always feared that part where the athlete is getting ready to go after a fan, and I hate to say it because there's all these incidences. We see it off the field, but sometimes on the field, I can see those heated discussions that happens. Obviously,
yeah. I mean, we've seen it. How many times have we sat and looked at the issue at the Palace? You can go back and you can YouTube several, and it typically happens in basketball. We've had a few football players try to go up in the seats, but it's easier for a basketball player to go up into the seats than it is a football player. He's got to jump a wall and then get up there. And he's got a lot of the people stopping him, but with basketball, they just got to get around the score, the chairs, and they're gone.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. And you got a lot of. We can talk a little bit about the NFL and your team because you got a new quarterback coming. We'll see how you're going to protect that individual as well because Danger Mouse is no longer there. I wanted to talk about, let's see, and I love this statement here. It's good to see you in the room, Mr. Maddox. Bummer that a few ruin it for the masses who are mostly amazing. It's good to see you in the room, Brand. We appreciate you, brother. I do wish, Ron, that you would not harass the good people. And what I mean by that, one of my favorite artists, one of my absolutely favorite artists, is Lindsey Sterling, and why she's out there playing in front of the venue before her show, and look who rolls up on her while she's playing. telling her to pack her bags, go back to wherever she's from. Got kicked out of her own venue just because she's in disguise.
And look, did you see
listen,
that?
Right here, there you go. Just because she's in disguise.
Her name was on the board.
Why does Mr. Ron Little have to go up there and kick the woman out of her own event?
Yeah. Live Nation presents Lindsey Sterling.
Yeah.
Hey, her job was on the stage, not in front of the building.
See, there you go. You just kicked her out like she was just someone out there heckling and hoboing or something. But you were nice. You were nice. You didn't have to put them hands on her.
I was extremely nice. You see how if you listen, I'm extremely nice.
I had to show it, ladies and gentlemen. I had to show it. Listen, all right, let's get into this right here, man. Staying with the NFL. There's some look. We're gonna go right into good, the bad, the ugly, and here's the ugly right here, right? Deshaun Watson, no longer in Houston, but he's still got some things to take care of in Texas. He's over in Cleveland now. He signed a massive contract with the Browns, but still in litigation, still in conversations. Actually, there were some hearings this week about his situation going on with the allegations of sexual misconduct and things like that. How does this continue to play out? And give me your guys' thoughts on this situation, which it looks like we're going to get to maybe some kind of answers. We don't know what the answers are going to be, but again, they're starting to have the conversation. How do you think this affects his ability to continue to play? How does he get received in Cleveland now that he's got to spend some of his time going back and forth to Houston, right, to be in these depositions and things like that, and then just the situation that's being dealt with as well with the allegations of sexual misconduct. Start with you, Ron, man.
It's interesting. He's got 22 lawsuits against him, 22 civil lawsuits that he's got to deal with, and it's interesting how a player can continue to make money, and again, obviously, these allegations have to go through the system and make sure that they're true and not true. I mean, there's two ways here that you can look at this. Are these opportunities that people are looking at a man with money and trying to, get one over on them and make the dollar, or it's 22 people though. That's
yeah,
that's
you
a
almost
lot.
wonder, and I'm gonna let you continue. You almost wonder, is it random, right? I mean, that's
Right?
that's Bill
Yeah,
Cosby type numbers, right? And I'm
yeah,
not throwing
it's
shade on
big
Bill
numbers.
Cosby because he's a distant relative to the Hicks name, right? And that
Yeah,
was just a shame when it happened with Bill. But go
and
ahead, man. Yeah.
that's the other, yeah. So when you get up to numbers like 22, then you're thinking, okay, so is this, an athlete who just really thought he was bigger than he was, and he could do what he wanted when he wanted. But it's amazing how the owners, they just go spend that money for that talent. He's talented. There's nothing you can't. He's talented, and is he going to bring butts to the seats? Because that's what the owner's looking for. Is he going to do that? Is he going to? Is it just going to be a name that's out there? I mean, he spent $230 million on this investment. So I got a feeling that he thinks that he must have talked to the attorneys. He must think that he's going to get out of this in some way, and he's going to bring butts to the seats in Cleveland.
Wow.
And he's going to put a different dynamic on that team to get them over that hump. They're close. They were close. They've been close, but Deshaun Watson definitely brings a different dynamic to that team. And look what he's doing to try to unite himself with the rest of those folks. He's taking them all to Bahamas.
I was going to bring that up at the end, right? He's taking everyone to the Bahamas for a few days to gel and to hang out with his weapons, with his receivers and all. Montel, your thoughts on this? Because we've talked about this from the inception of the Chargers. We've talked about, again, the good, the bad, the ugly, and just, is it right? Is it real? All of that. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts now that it's happening, right? Now that he's sitting in the courtroom and things are happening.
I think we got to kind of look at this situation really, really with a magnifying glass. And there's a couple of questions I want to ask you guys with some yes and no answers. Like, let's be honest with you. If Deshaun Watson wouldn't have said he wanted to be traded from the Texans and was still in the Texans, would these charges would have been brought up?
Yeah,
yes or no?
That's
okay. Now you're just slapping us in the mouth, right? With
no,
reality.
I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, you slapping us in the mouth with reality.
No.
Ron, go ahead.
The reason why I'm saying it would have been brought up because at this point, as you know, Ron, Texas security, they know. Like these guys follow their star players and are in those stars' business to know exactly what they're into and what they're not into. Hold on. With that being said, after 3 allegations, 4 allegations, 5 allegations, 10 allegations, not to get to 22, they would have known this has been something going on in this situation where they would have either exposed it or they wouldn't have hid it. My thing is the Texans are just as responsible as Deshaun Watson is responsible for doing these things because they've known about it and they didn't say anything until he brought up the point that he wanted to be traded and he no longer wanted to be a part of the organization. So everybody's blind by the fact that he did it. We know he's wrong. If he did do it or didn't do it, that's wrong. No one is pointing the finger at the Texans saying, hey, you guys knew about this situation and tried to cover it up until you got pissed off at him because he didn't want to be there. Now you want to let the cat out the bag. That's one of my biggest issues and biggest problems with this whole story. Because like I said, they should have known it after the 3rd or 4th allegation. They should have known after the 5th or 6th allegation where they could have nipped this in the bud and it wouldn't have been 22 lawsuits. It'd have been maybe 2 or 3. And they would have figured it out and did it. He's not accused of raping anybody. He's accused of inappropriately groping these women. So he didn't rape. Right. So I hate when people get him misconstrued. He did not rape anyone. He didn't physically force himself sexually on anyone. He's accused of groping these women. So he groped 20. So basically, he grabbed 22 women's asses. That's what he did, without their permission. And now he's getting ready to get paid for millions of that. But the problem is, if this was a big, a really huge situation, Texas should have intervened and stopped it right then and there. Now it's becoming a money issue, and City has a problem with that. So that's my number one. Number 2, on the Cleveland situation, I would have invested the same money in him if I think he's going to get out of it, or I think it's going to be minimal damage control. And if you put it the way I did it, it is minimal damage control. Okay. In my opinion, it's minimal damage control. Hey, he did something. He touched women. He didn't touch women. They gave him approval. It wasn't a big. When you say sexual allegations or sexual misconduct, it gives the inclination that he was forcing himself to try to rape these women. He did not do that. They were massaging him, and he was groping them when it was massaging them.
So that delineation you think is going to come out from his side, from the defensive side, during all of these conversations with right? I mean,
I think for the Cleveland, if they want to do damage control, they can do damage control.
Yeah.
They can easily paint the narrative to be very lighter than what they're saying. The damage what they're saying, what it is. They can change the story, the narrative to favor more Deshaun Watson. Did he touch women unwillingly? Absolutely. Let's get that on the way. He did it. Yeah. I'm not going to give him a pass on that. He did it, and it's wrong. But I think Texans are just as wrong. I think Cleveland is going to say we can do some damage control. We can at least minimize it to not be that bad, and he's going to be able to come in here and be a dynamic player. And your beginning question was, how does it come out of it? As long as he's winning, this story is going to go buried.
Yeah,
if he's winning,
that's the truth. Go ahead, Ron. I'll let you go in, man.
No, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that.
If he's winning, this story is going to be nothing. It will be nothing because that $240 million they spent will be a drop in the bucket. If he gets them to the playoffs, he can win a playoff game.
Right. And Cleveland spent that money knowing exactly what you said.
Yes.
They would be able to minimize his cases back in Texas. They would be able to not excuse it, but come up with a reasonable explanation.
Yep.
Yeah.
A controllable narrative they can control.
There it is right there. How good is the PR team so they can spin the narrative? There it is right there, Kevin.
Yeah. So, but my thing is off. But my thing is, why is everyone excusing the Texans? Why are you?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
They haven't said anything about the Texans, and you are absolutely correct. The main man on the team, he has security with them at all times.
Hell yeah, he does.
At all
he
times.
has some money. They know before you do things. They know when you drunk driving. They know before everybody does. That story goes to the organization before it gets leaked to the media all the time. They know when you abuse someone. They know that before everybody knows that. So you mean to tell me these allegations 22? They didn't know it before the media got to it? Texans are full of crap. They didn't want either they were covering it up for him because he was their franchise player, and as soon as he made a point that I no longer want to be here, I want to be traded, all of a sudden, all these allegations came out.
Hey, Ron, you didn't know we was gonna get it. You told we get into it here, brother. Take a breath now. You see, this is only story number 2.
I'm part of the NFL.
Yeah, man. This is it. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm fairly disappointed, and I know this happens in other organizations as well. I mean, they're not perfect. So Pittsburgh Steelers did it with Ben Roethlisberger. They did the same thing. They covered the stories of what was going on with him, and every organization covers up their star player if they did something dirty. They're gonna figure it out how to minimize damage control or cover it up. My thing is, Texas brought it upon themselves to bring it public and make sure they jumped on whoever's side to say, hey, these are things he was doing, sit out a year and do all this other crap they made him do for whatever he did. But I'm saying they knew.
Yeah.
They knew 100% what was going on in the situation. As a matter of fact, I believe in one of the depositions, they gave him a massage table to take home.
Yes, they did. At least that has been said. I
yes.
read that as well.
So not only did you know, you were actually insinuating it. You were contributing to him having this behavior with these people because you gave him the table to have at home for him to do that. With that being said, I want to know how come everyone's letting them off the table. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not naive. They got the coin, right? They're the owners. They can control their narrative, what they want to do. But I'm saying that we're going to crucify Deshaun Watson by public opinion. We damn sure better crucify the Texans by public opinion as well because they tried to cover it up until he was no longer one of their commodities.
I wonder. So, Ron, is any of this? And you on the inside? Go ahead and spill it. Has this come out of any off-season owners meetings? Or were you in the room at the golf course?
No. So I run
something
a
like
stadium.
this needs to be talked about.
No. I run a stadium, and
I got nothing to do with it. My guy was not there in the room. Okay,
that's awesome. Hey, I didn't. You, Bill Clinton, I didn't in hell.
It wasn't me. Eddie Murphy, wasn't me.
No, and that's my opinion, right? I'm not putting you on the spot. That's my opinion of the whole situation. I don't work for the NFL, so I don't have a vested interest in it.
I think everybody, when you sign a high-profile player, It doesn't matter who it is.
Good
You're
point, Kevin.
responsible for him. You're absolutely responsible for him.
Yeah.
So you're responsible as long as he's playing for your team. So if you think that there's issues, then you should be putting security with them to eliminate those issues. That's the whole point of having these additional people on your payroll, is to help you get through those situations. So I mean, there's a lot of young players that have made a lot of mistakes, and they make those
Mm-hmm.
mistakes, again, maybe they didn't have the male dominant person as they're growing up, so they were just free flowing, and they just have this athletic ability that's
Mm.
just incredible. And so they're still young at heart, and they're going out doing stupid stuff. So you've got to put people in place to curb that stupidity and
Yep.
make sure that they understand that there's repercussions to everything that you do, whatever it is. There's repercussions, and whatever that is, and whoever you are, there's repercussions to your actions.
Man.
So hopefully we get more people in the organization to help these youngsters come up through the business, and just be fine, upstanding civilians. I don't know.
That's all we can hope for. I'm loving where we're going right here with this, because literally you're falling into, forget the order of conversation now, because now you're falling into us asking you about your thoughts, your opinions on NIL, right? Name, image, and likeness. Because Montel and I have talked since day zero, kind of as I was telling you, about how the influence and that introduction of cash. You go to the local grocery store, you bag some groceries for 2 hours, and next thing you know, you walk out with $50,000 in your pocket. You and your family came up with nothing, and now just because of you and your abilities, you're getting paid for that, for being who you are at such a young age.
Right.
But again, we've also talked about the rookies in the league, and even veterans, and just people in whatever league, just having the right folks around them, having the squad around them to look out, having the right people around you to keep you out of trouble. Or again, if you get into trouble, you have that first line of defense to call and say, help me, do whatever. Talk to us a little bit about your thoughts. And I don't want to overtake the conversation. We can still talk about the whole Deshaun Watson thing, because I think now we're starting to get into a gray area of both. These young folks and these athletes that are getting paid for name, image, and likeness. Your thoughts on that, and do you agree with it? Do you think that there's some changes that should happen, even though it's relatively new, and just kind of the evolution of it thus far?
Yeah, I mean, it bothered me growing up seeing the colleges and every university gain wealth on the individuals that are playing for them. So you've got this name that's he's your star quarterback on your college team, and he's taking you to the Rose Bowl, or he's taking, and they're gaining all this sponsorship, and they're getting all this extra money. So I think the players should get some of that. I absolutely, for in the gaming systems, everybody trying to utilize their image. I think they should gain from that, but I think it also maybe should go into some type of fund that they're able to tap into later in life, and not be an 18-year-old, like you said, with a $50,000 check just dropped in your lap on a Friday, money that they've never seen before in their life, and all of a sudden they've got this abundance of cash, and nobody's ever taught them what to do with it. I think there's a lot of education that has to go behind or go before they actually get that money. And I don't, again, I'm not in that side of the world, so I don't know how you would do that, but I really think there's got to be an educational program that's got to that they must attend. They must not attend like normal college classes where they get flying grades, but must attend and pass. They must understand money and money matters before they're able to tap into that fund. I don't know how you do that, because you sit and look at and these are veterans. You look at veterans who have retired from the game and lost their money within 2 years. You see that all the time because of bad money management, bad spendings, bad their posses are just draining them. because they had no idea. Nobody's ever taught them money management. Nobody's taken an econ class in that whole group. So
no one ever went to class because they had someone else take the class for them.
because they can get an A. But I don't know. I don't know if there's got to be a way of getting, the cake and eating it too. I guess there's got to be a way.
Yeah, go ahead, Monty. I know you just grinning on the inside because Rod just regurgitated everything that you said for the last couple of months. Go ahead, man.
No, I agree. There should be a financial literacy mechanism attached to this. But I'm gonna go more in your realm, in your world, Ron, and in the security world, because I believe there's an ugly side of this in NIL, the way it's currently set up, that the NCAA is not prepared for it, and that's the criminal element of it. Mm-hmm. Like you said, some of these people come from, very, very low or meager backgrounds, and all of a sudden you're going to drop, $200,000 in their lap, or even some of these guys $800,000 in their lap. What's going to prevent that enemy from his old neighborhood, or that jealous person from that old neighborhood sticking a gun to his mama's head and embezzling his family for some money? What's going to stop somebody on that campus or off that campus from robbing him and sticking him up? What's going to stop any of that stuff being there? Because now that becomes a security issue. It's a shame when there's an 18, 19, even if he is financially literate, an 18, 19, 20-year-old that just comes in at $800,000 playing on the campus and got a brand new car that no one's ever seen before. He is automatically at that point a target. Yeah. And I personally, the NCAA is not prepared to protect that target at all. Right. Not at all. No, there's no freaking way. And without that being said, like I said, you have stuff that's going to be going on at the home front now, because now with social media, it's posted everywhere. Hey, little Johnny just got an NIL for $70,000. You know what? I need $10,000. So what am I going to do? And not only we're talking about that, let's even step to the Deshaun Watson thing. What's going to think now? Women now know, or those women that are out there that are like that are now they're the targets for them now to get pregnant. To be in domestic situations where he put his hand, or to just, if he groped him, now to bring a charge against him because he has money, because everybody wants money from this situation. NCAA right now, the way it's currently set up, is not prepared for that. You're in security, and I know it's event security, but that's kind of more, I know you got strategically about that. How do you feel about that situation and that mechanism?
Like I said, I think the money should be there and be divvied up to them, and so that it's not accessible to that person. And you've got to publicize that, though. Yeah, it's a fund that he's not going to be able to touch till he's 25, and he's able to take care of the security side, take care of his personal, get his, if his family's in poverty, get his family out of poverty and get them safe away, tucked away, and then you can start allotting him more and more money as he's progressing. But you just don't drop that kind of money in the kid's lap. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, and I know it could be younger than 18. I mean, 16-year-olds there's some 16-year-olds out there that are just incredibly gifted athletes that are getting that same notoriety, and they could be possibly picking up the same money. And yeah, like you said, they're going home to, their poverty-stricken homes, and you got $70,000.
Dang.
I'm just. Wow. It's gonna take that one incident. I think that's gonna open people's eyes, and that incident ain't that far. I don't think it's that far away. I really don't. People think, hey, these guys are gonna be in there. It's gonna be okay, but I believe we're not that far away from somebody saying, hey, I'm gonna stick this person up, or I'm gonna do something harmful to this person to give me some money, because I know they got it. I know the quarterback from Alabama just got a brand new damn Mercedes, driving a unique Mercedes.
Went in the dealership and modeled the cars for 30 minutes and left.
That's one of the issues. That's one of the issues that is a driving factor in security overall. Too many people are reactive rather than being proactive.
Yes,
I run into that. Every year I try to do my budgets, and I'm trying to keep us on that forefront of security. Keep us, if you put up the image of a secured facility, nobody will want to fuck with you. Yeah. Sorry, nobody will want to mess with you. Yeah. Everybody will go and choose a different target because you've put such a good front for people to see. But that's being proactive. People don't want to be proactive because they think money doesn't bring in, or security doesn't bring in funds. It doesn't bring in money. But our return, security's return on the investment, is the lives of every employee that works in that building, the lives of every fan that comes to that building, the lives of every athlete that plays in that building. I mean, that's our return on investment, plus the lawsuits we save money on top of it. But nobody wants to be proactive. Everybody wants to be reactive. So like you said, Wanda, a situation is going to occur, and then everybody's going to go, oh, we should start thinking about ways of protecting these people.
They want you to be invisible.
I think
right?
I really think that's sad. I think that's kind of sad in our society, man, because like I said, we want to reward these student athletes for doing the things and for bringing all this money for the university and doing all that. But in the same token, the university doesn't want to say provide security for these individuals and also teach them how to manage this money. I think we're in it's a catch-22 sword, and the NCAA is just it's been complained about for so long for them to get a piece of the pie. NCAA is like, okay, we'll wash our hands of it. You guys deal with it now, because again, a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old is not, I don't think, some of them are, but majority of them are not equipped to handle that kind of money at all.
No.
They're just not equipped to handle that kind of money and figure out what to do with it without being braggadocious, or without being out there, without flaunting, without doing a lot of those things to draw attention to themselves, which we already know when you draw more attention to yourself, you draw that other element as well. I truly believe this NIL thing is going to open up an ugly, ugly door that they didn't want. They shouldn't open. I had the same system as you. It puts away in the fund. You get it upon graduation. You get it when you graduate. You walk away.
Yeah, the NCAA has made so much money off the athletes over, however many years it's been. But they've made enough money, and they knew it was going to come to a point where they were going to have to start paying. They have, these are very smart people at the top of the NCAA.
Correct.
They knew. They should have put measures in place. They should have figured out a better way of giving the funds to them. Like you said, education is key to every one of these individuals. Educate them on money management and spending. And like you said, I like the idea. Upon graduation, that's when
because if you want to leave early, go to the pros, you forfeit your money. If you want to drop out of school, you forfeit your money. But the people that stay here, make that 4-year, 5-year commitment to the university.
Well, you know what? They'll need to run for office at one of these universities.
That's an interesting point. I kind of like that, though. Yeah, if you go in early, this way, stay and graduate. Graduate.
We already know 3% only make it to the pros. What happened to the other 97%? If they graduate, they get a piece of the pie. Piece of the pie, they help generate revenue. And I just feel, man, that like the NCAA and that mechanism has just been so poorly mismanaged. Do the pressures. I understand they got pressures on them. People saying do this, people saying do that. They need to get paid. They don't need to get paid. Let's first of all, let's squash it. Division I athletes that are at the FBS level get paid. They get their stipend every month. Obviously, that's not enough because the school's making millions while they're giving these kids hundreds. I understand that point. But I believe if they put it in a trust fund or a fund in that retrospect for those schools, and it should be an NCAA fund for everybody. So Boise State can give just as much as Alabama gives upon a senior. So every senior should walk away that played in that sport should walk away with $60,000 to $75,000 because they contribute to the school. And that way, it's not unfair balance if you put it in a general fund for everyone and they cut that check to those senior athletes. Because if you just say Alabama's going to get it, obviously they get all the TV marks, they get all that, and Idaho's never on TV, so there's no way they can generate giving that kind of money. But if you did it that way, now the recruiting part is still stay the same. The NIL doesn't really change the effect. The way recruiting is done, now you actually really have to go and do your job, not just what money your boosters can bring in for you. They could have did it a lot smarter, man, and thought a lot more strategic instead of just, hey, I'm going to cut it and let you guys just kind of deal with it because, again, they're going to deal with a crime element I don't think they're ready to deal with. It may start on the lower level, but I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be some high-profile college athlete that gets jacked. It's going to happen.
Watch.
And then what? What are we going to do now? Well, now we got to provide security.
Yeah.
Now we got to
The
do something.
NCAA just wash their hands.
Well, that's your job as a university, and the university's going to be saying, the university's going to be like, hold on. You allowed this. You're the governing body. You're the one that said do it. Well, what's the protocol when this happens? Man, they just didn't think it through, and I'm pretty disappointed. I'm really disappointed because now we're gonna have a situation where young people's lives are gonna be in danger, and people can always say I'm over exaggerating. I'm not. You ever been to Gary, Indiana? You ever been in those kind of situations where people are like that? They're desperate, man, and right now we're in desperate times. Desperate times. People that have no options take desperate measures.
Yep.
And that one person that made it out.
Yep.
Yeah, that one person made it out. There's no reason why he's not like a back in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have definitely we passionate about this, and you can tell Montel has thought about this quite a number of times, and it's real and it's relevant. So I definitely let that conversation continue to go. I'm just going to have to start trimming down the topics because we still got 5 topics. We're not going to make it tonight. I'm not going to do that to y'all. We're not going to hold you because I know some folks are probably trying to watch the NBA Finals, Eastern Conference. Boston and Miami right now. Miami is up over the Celtics, 87-76. So we're gonna let folks get back into that. Ron, we may have to bring you back to continue this dialogue, this conversation, because again, it's so new that it's still relevant, and there's still not any answers out there. And I think again, we really are blazing the path by having the conversation when no one else is. We had more conversations on this show about Brittany Griner than anyone else did. And I'm not even being funny about that. I'm not even joking about that. We've talked more about her than, the fact that she needs to be home for. So let me go into just maybe one or two last stories here. And again, staying with kind of football, I think this is kind of an interesting turn of events. So shouts out to what's going on here. XFL has reached a multi-year agreement to air all games, all regular season game and all playoff games on ESPN. Not ESPN 2, not ESPN 3. ESPN, yeah. The fact that they own ESPN proper. So Dwayne Johnson is come over and taking over the XFL and has signed and making grown folks money, working with the NFL as well, because this is kind of where, Montel, again, you've thought about having that developmental league, right? Having that venue for other players to go to, come from, that kind of thing. So talk to us briefly of what you guys think about this entire agreement that's happening. The fact that, again, this is on ESPN proper, and this is Scott Van Pelt going to be reporting. So you made it when you got bald head Scott talking about it. But the fact that the XFL is going to start making some big major moves, and what Dwayne Johnson has done.
I think it speaks a lot to who you know. Dwayne Johnson has been with the Disney Corporation for a long time, and obviously Dwayne Johnson is a huge name in sports and entertainment industry. He's made his name all across the board, but he's been in a lot of Disney events, Disney films. So I think it's all about who you know. And XFL James, you and I were talking about this a little bit before we went on air. XFL had a little bit of ground. I mean, they were tricking before COVID hit. We had an XFL team in Seattle, the Dragons. We played one game at home, and we were the next. I think it was our second home game. That was from that point on, we were postponed. The whole point behind the XFL was exactly what you just said. It was a developmental league for those players that were just not ready for the NFL. They were able to hone their skills through a season and then possibly get picked up by the NFL when it was time. So, I mean, it either that or you sit on a practice squad. So what's the difference? You might as well sit and get paid a little bit more, probably, if you could, with the XFL. At the time, it was McMahon, and now it's Dwayne Johnson. I think it's great. I think more football. I'm a football guy, so I played semi-pro when I was younger, and we didn't have XFL. I wish we did.
Yeah.
But I played with some pretty good fellas that they were just short of the NFL, and that's why we were where we played.
Yeah. So what do
But
you think about this compared to the FCL, the fan controlled league, where
the one that,
Terrell is,
Yeah.
and where who's the quarterback? Is that Manziel? Well,
Manziel,
so
yeah.
where they are, that the indoor piece, right? And then Montel, I'll let you chime in. But what are your thoughts on just the makeup of what XFL looks like out there?
well, I think the XFL is trying to mirror the NFL more so than the other league. I mean,
Yeah.
I think making it as similar to the NFL as you can, so that that transition from XFL to NFL is almost seamless.
Mhm.
So that's just my thought on. I think it's great, and it's awesome that Dwayne Johnson was able to use his influence to get himself on XFL or on ESPN, because that is going to help drive it into the NFL. I think that's going to drive
I agree.
people to see it, watch it, because as you said, it's not ESPN2 or ESPN Ocho. It's actually ESPN.
He said Ocho.
So I think it's a great thing. I think it's something that I'll look forward to watching it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, Montel, you got an XFL team down in your neck of the woods, down in Southern Cal?
No, not yet. Not that we know. I'm sure we'll have one. I'm pretty
man, come on.
But I echo the sentiments. I think the XFL is a great idea. I think Dwayne Johnson is smart by positioning himself to mimic the NFL and get them guys involved and sell it as a development league. I mean, the same thing is for the USFL. It should be sold as a development league, except they're not partners with the NFL. Both those leagues are definitely have a lot of. I mean, there's a high demand and there's a lot of talent in football. There just is. I mean, the World League was an experience. I don't know if people remember the World League, where they sent our guys that were developing to be in the NFL to go over to the World League, get some games, and then come back over here. It's kind of similar to that model, but we'll just have it here in the States with the XFL. I'm hoping, me personally, there's a development team. I mean, just like I told you about WNBA, man, I hope it's a development team in every city where their practice squads, where instead of now them only having 8 on the practice squad, they can say, look, we're going to have a whole team, and that's an opening game for our regular NFL game.
Yeah.
So you're going to get 2 for 1. Our development guys are going to play right before us for content to be delayed simulcast or be on ESPN, and then our regular football game is going to come on at 10 or 12 like we normally do. But every city has their own development league where, like you said, it is seamless. If somebody gets hurt, you can pull them on up. If somebody goes down, you can push them on down. And have those swapping contracts, just like kind of like Major League Baseball does. I think that's where the XFL is going to end up trying to go to make it that way and sell it that way. I'm all for it. More young men being professionals, but I hope what's going to end up happening with the XFL is they need to make it where it's, I hope, a limited base. Like, you can't stay there forever, right?
Yeah.
You got to be like, hey, so you can keep fresh blood coming in. So, hey, you know what? You can only play here for an amount of four full seasons. After 4 full seasons, if you didn't make it, it's got to be because you want to generate new blood, just like the NFL does. You can't be on the practice squad for 4 years.
True. Yeah.
Like, if you're not making it in the NFL, they're eventually going to cut you and say, hey, you either got to go to another team or because we got to bring some new people in because you're not cracking that ceiling at all. So I think they got to do some things like that. That'll happen in time. But I do believe the league is perfect, and I think it's the right timing right now. We're in a situation where everybody needs development, everybody needs experience, and you want the high motor, the best of the best to play at the NFL. This is the way to get those guys that aren't quite ready, that development fast. And I think it's going to be also a playing field for coaching, referees, new things they want to do, interjecting technology with TV and all that stuff. This is going to be that whole breeding ground for them to test those things out before they bring it to the NFL.
I love it.
So I'm all for it.
I like, I agree also with this comment that came in from Tony, man. Appreciate you for being here as well, man. There's got to be some marquee person, though. There's got to be someone with some swag out there on both sides.
No, I know. Dwayne Johnson is a swag. I want to see fresh college guys.
Somebody that can play. I don't want the water boy out there now. Come on.
Yeah, I don't need the flash. I don't need the guy that I had never heard of. I want to hear about that kid that was playing at Division III that he's made it. He's cracking it.
You
He's
want the
really
good.
balling
You
out
want the
here.
good story. I want to see someone out there making, them one-handed catches. Behind. Okay,
But you
we
will.
hear
But
you.
you will.
I know what
You
you're
know what I'm
talking
saying?
about.
But I'm saying you will see that if you give those guys a chance. Like these NAI guys, these Division III guys, these Division II
Yeah,
guys that have all the talent in the world, but you know the
Yeah.
rosters are limited. They get a chance to play in this league to show they can play with the big boys, and some of them are going to even be able to excel. Some of the guys that we
Ron,
thought was
you see how
Division
I pick
One,
at the scab here and just try
yeah.
to instigate a conversation. Yeah,
You know, you
I
just
do
want to
this
see
on
your boy,
purpose.
man. You want to see your boy Manziel. I mean, I don't want to see. I don't want to keep seeing the same old pros
Yeah,
kind of come down and relive their
Right.
and try to relive their life
I
to try
set
to
you
get
up,
back
brother.
into
I
the
know.
level.
I know.
I want them
Ooh,
to kind of get their thing. So I
you
hope they just put some parameters around it. But in all, man, it's a great idea. Just
you
like
you
I
want
like
it,
the
bro.
Eagles.
You
It's a
hot
great
now.
idea.
I got you. I knew I had that plan too. I was just waiting to lay that on you.
Nah,
Let's.
you just like we ain't in the same room right now.
I know. God, I be trying. This is what we do. Shouts out to Team No Sleep. I got
That's
one. We got
hilarious.
one more story, but let's get into this
Okay.
little break right quick, folks.
Wow, what we got?
There it is. Oh my God, there it blew up on me again. But yet, listen, every week Tuesday 6:30 p.m. Montel and I come with it. We bringing you the real deal, Holyfield, social impact of sport. Again, I only mentioned scores one time tonight, and we got into some serious conversations. We either bring on a guest or me and Montel chopped it up. But tell somebody this is where you want to be Tuesday nights at 6:30 p.m. I got to figure out. I got to work on my
The transition game,
infrastructure
man.
here. Some things
Yeah,
aren't right
you
here.
need to get your
God,
transition game up, bro. Get your
it's not
transition
right, man.
game up.
I'm blaming it on the Rona. Yeah, every the last 8 days since your boy been down with the Rona, it's not been right. But
Yeah.
we moving along. Appreciate everybody for being here. Last story because I want to be cognizant of time and get your feelings on this, and we'll save the others for next because a couple of them are still going to be relevant next week as well. I like this story, and I want to talk about the impact of this. Naomi Osaka don't sleep on Naomi Osaka. Naomi Osaka has just started her own sports agency, and it really is a testament to her mental fortitude in terms of what she's doing and how she's seeing her legacy play out. Right. And she's already got some interesting folks that are reaching out and saying they want to be part of her squad. She's got Kyrie Irving, who has said, "Hey, I know you do tennis, but you got room on your roster for hoopers as well." So that's really interesting. And I guess I want to hear your guys' thought about someone who has gone through so much in her short professional life and period of time, right? She's had all of the conversations about mental awareness and being, heckled on the courts, moving out to California away from her home. I've been watching the Netflix special about her, so I've been getting kind of a bit behind the scenes of how she's doing. And I don't want to say I feel sorry for her, but I feel for her, right? Because she's just so genuine and so real from what we're seeing portrayed, at least in that Netflix series about Naomi Osaka. So folks, check that out if you got Netflix. Steal the password from somebody in your family if you don't have it before before Netflix cuts all that off. But again, taking that money, putting it where it belongs. Yes, she's done a lot of modeling as well. Yes, she's done a lot of brand ambassadorships and awareness. But now she started her own sports agency. Talk to us a little bit about this and what your thoughts are. I'm going to switch it. Montel, let me start with you this time, man, and your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I'm excited for her, but it's a little risk and a lot of reward for her. To be honest with you, I mean, the risk of opening, the risk is she's opening a sports agency. Obviously, she's probably going to be her first client, so that will generate. But we know agencies like this come and go with a lot of entertainers. Rappers rappers that started it, try to have sports agencies and all that. So really, it's a tough business to crack. In getting clients. I think with her star power, she can bring on people that, like you said, Kyrie may be interested in her. But at the end of the day, it's got to be able to do good business and generate business for its clients. So I'm hoping that it works out for her. I hope it's a successful, is my man, is LeBron's counterpart, his buddy with his sports agency. I hope it can favor in that woman. I hope she can grab her niche and what kind of clients she wants to grab. But then again, this is a tough business to kind of get into. So I'm wishing her the best. I really do. I really do wish her the best. And how's it going to play itself on out? But more so, I want to see her to continue to be a successful athlete as
Yeah,
well.
I agree. I mean, she's been consulting with LeBron. She's been consulting with
yeah,
Matt Carter, right? LeBron's business manager and
yeah.
partner in a lot of things. But Ron, what are your thoughts on this? Because that's an interesting perspective that you had, Montel, right? I mean, is this the right thing for her to do
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
her funds,
Well,
her time, and her influence? So, Ron, your thoughts?
no, I think it's actually a very chancy endeavor for her because it just being a woman in the business, and not to say, I've through my whole career I've worked for some amazing women that have been leaders, and I think I think she's got the right business models behind her. She's looked at the right people. She's followed the right path. It just, will people follow her, and will people join her? And that's it. I'm hoping. I think we're in a different society right now where people would do it, but she needs some young players. She needs some young up and comers. I mean, Kyrie's great, but let's get some new blood in and see if she, what she can do with them and get them moving forward. So, I'm all behind her. I hope that she makes it. I hope her agency makes it, but she's got a lot of cards stacked against her, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I even wonder about Kyrie because he brings some different baggage with him, right? So, Kyrie, Kyrie, he lost me when he kept talking about the world being flat, right? I listen. Come on, I love him out there. I love his handles. I love what he does out there on the court and all. But when he started talking about the world is flat, I was like, man, this brother crazy.
Like I hope she has a niche, man. I would really love to see her business model in doing this, because it's you got to have a niche in that kind of business, or because let's be honest, the NBA draft was today. Is anybody from the NBA? Is she going to be representing anybody that's coming out in the NBA draft? Is she going to be representing anybody with the NFL draft that just happened? Is she, where is, is she going to just be strictly for tennis? And I really would love to see her business model behind it in order to be successful. But because I'm rooting, and the reason why I'm saying that, because I'm rooting for her. I want her to be successful. I want to work in everything to do. But man, I mean, that business industry, sports, agency is tough to break into, and have people trust you with their money and trust you with their futures without having any riffles, having any bad things going on, in order to kind of start to gain some momentum and be successful in that. And, like I said, I'm a big fan of hers as a tennis player. I'm a big fan of hers advocating for mental health. I'm a big fan of her being a very strong businesswoman and taking charge. I just think this is risky. This is, like you said, it's very risky in getting in this type of industry and this type of climate. Why? And instead of just partnering with somebody that has some really strong experience and maybe being a minority holder or something like that, and kind of being behind the scenes with the option to buy out and own it in the future, kind of taking it slow. But I mean, I'm sure she got a team about her that's really successful and know what they're doing. I hope it works out. Like I said, because more so I'm a fan.
Yeah. Definitely. I think you're right. That would have been a better move for her. Definitely to join in with an existing agency, one that already had the high clientele, and see what she can do with them and be a partner. Yeah, you're right though. I think everything you'll see it within the next year. She missed the NFL draft already, so she's already missed that if it's the NFL. So, you got the NBA next, and obviously tennis. See what kind of tennis stars that she picks up. But I think you'll know her worth in the next year. And you'll know the agent, not her personally, but the agency's worth in the next year.
See, there go Martell's phone ringing. That means he getting called to dinner or something. Sound like the bat phone was ringing. Is what it sounded like. Old school bat phone. So we gonna take that clue, and we're gonna take that hint. Man, this was cool. This was some great conversation. I love the dialogue, and I knew Martell, you and Ron would vibe and have some good stuff to talk about. Appreciate the time, appreciate the energy. Look, Mr. Little, you family, man. So you got the keys to the front door right now. Come in anytime that you want to and chop it up with us on Tuesday nights. We got this is what we do. Right, we make people
Yeah.
think about sports again.
Yeah,
We don't talk about just the rudimentary, low level stuff, but we get into NIL, we get into sexual misconduct, we get into some things that make you want to, the old Arsenio, make you go, right, that kind of stuff. So, thank you, brother.
There's some
Appreciate you.
stories that can be told too here. I can tell. So no, I appreciate the invite, James, and Montel. Really good meeting you, and I look forward to more conversations. Absolutely.
There it is, Montel. Take us home, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, everybody out there, man, keep 10 toes down. Say your prayers, man. And like I said, like we always talk about, man, make sure you call that friend because we're not out of trying times with this mental health thing going on. Check up on people, man. Make sure they're okay. And then we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, it is. Check up on them.